if you see the trailer and Mike It Loud, he's banging on some nails. He's got a 2x4. He's stringing some just bobbed wire, and puts a Coke bottle in there as a bridge. Puts a pickup on it, plugs it into his amp. Suddenly he's playing this roaring guitar on one piece of barbed wire.
With the cow.
With the cow as his audience.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And and he goes, you go, okay, this is a different kind of movie.
Yeah. And that was in Nashville. You filmed that?
That was outside of Nashville, at a farm like south of Nashville.
Okay, so you were on 3 separate locations. Dublin.
Well, 4. We were many locations. We shot all around the world, but we were in Dublin, mostly for Edge, in what they call the HQ, where U2 writes all their music. Their little clubhouse where they write all their songs, and Edge is working on, their next big hit, and processing and changing guitars and staying up all night. And you see him write a song. And we're in Tennessee with Jack, and we're in London with Jimmy Page in his studio.
And then the 3 of them got together where?
We call it the Summit. So that's the 4th major location in LA, the biggest soundstage.
And where was that?
That was at Warner Brothers. And we actually drew a map so that Jimmy would come through one entrance and never see Edge, and Edge would come through another entrance, because I didn't want them to meet or to talk. I wanted them to, when they were on camera on the first time, to tell their stories in front of us. There was no like side conversations. And they said, what do you want me to play? What do you want us to talk about? I'm not going to tell you. Whatever if you guys ask each other what to play, you'll do it. So for 2 hours, nothing happened. And then out of nowhere, Jimmy picks up his Les Paul and plays Whole Lotta Love. Oh. And it was kind of like a throwdown, because they were like, oh my God, I'm hearing Whole Lotta Love. So then Edge has to pick up the guitar and play I Will Follow, and then Jack plays his songs. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you picked up your guitar, I suppose.
Well, some of us were like, pretending we were them, but they were the,
Yeah.
But it was like, we call it the Summit, because it was like bringing like Reagan and Gorbachev together, except there was a third one. Yeah.
Did you have any preconceived expectations of any of them prior to going into this about how they would act or behave for the movie?
I didn't know. And I've never done a documentary about music.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to politicians or actors, and I didn't know how they would behave. You hear these rock stars, and they came. The trucks would come before them, and then their people, and then their guitar techs, and like what's going to happen? But when they were together, they were so interested in each other. They're from 3 different worlds, and they were just so into each other that they became very, very humble around each other, because they were so impressed with the other's music.
Why were the 3 generation of guitar players selected?
Because I was interested in their differences. So U2 came up as a band that was like, we don't want to be Led Zeppelin. We don't want to be this white boy blues band that played just, long guitar solos. We want to be punk, 3 chords and the truth, and angry and sing something and be political. That was the opposite of Led Zeppelin. And Jack White came up and said, I don't want to do this overproduced big, rock band. So each one of them comes from this different generation in many ways, like, trying to be different than the generation before them. And those differences are really interesting to me. If they're all the same and nodding and agreeing with each other, that wouldn't be very interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And to see these 3 different, what's different about them, and and then what do they have, in the end of the movie, what do they have in common?
Right. Now, you went to Jimmy Page's house, his castle.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
It was towards the end, and he kept talking about these albums that he loved. He kept talking about this one song called The Rumble that Link Wray plays, and that was a song that had the attitude in it that really changed him as a guitarist. That when he heard it, it influenced how he played, and that was so meaningful. And I said, well, I need you to play that for me. And he said, well, tomorrow come to my house. And we're in his room where the record collection is, and he pulls out the album and plays it, and he's listening to it, and his face just lights up, and you see his love for the music that influenced him, and out of nowhere suddenly he's playing air guitar, and he plays air guitar differently than I do, because his fingers are in the right place, and his timing is perfect, and his body's moving, and
Yeah.
and it could easily just be him playing the guitar.
It seems like he has a lot of class about him.
Yeah.
When he walks in a room, he just exudes that.
He's elegant.
Elegant, right?
He's elegant. But he's also so excited. He loves this music, and that's the revelation of the movie. It's like you feel these guys. They're like excited little boys when it comes down to the music,
Right.
and
right.
you see that's the nature of great music and rock stars. People just love music and they have to play it.
Yeah. One thing I noticed about Jack White
Mm-hmm.
was the blood on the guitar. Tell me about that.
We were filming him in Austin, Texas, another location, and we were filming him for another reason. He had modified this guitar so he could put a microphone in the side of it with a retractable cord, and we'd shown how they built that guitar, so he could play a guitar, so whip up the guitar. So we're filming that and trying to get that right. And at the end, he puts his guitar down, and my cameraman says, "Look, Davis, look." And we went down, and the guitar is covered with blood. He'd been playing this roaring guitar solo and didn't notice, but his hand was bleeding, and the blood is all over the pickups and the knobs and everything.
I noticed he had a little boy in the film with him.
Yeah.
Who is that?
That's Jack White as a 9-year-old boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was like, I want to teach myself. He says, if we're making a movie about me, I want to figure out how to tell a story of me as a guitarist. So I want to teach myself as a 9-year-old boy. So the next day he shows up with a guy dressed exactly like him, 9 years old, and he says, "Davis, I'd like to introduce you to Jack White." I'm like, "Nice to meet you, Jack White." So and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'll go with it."
Mm-hmm. And the clothing, he looked almost Amish.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they had their bowler hats and their bow tie
Right,
and their.
right. Does he dress like that off the movie set as well?
Jack White that's Jack White.
That's Jack White.
That's right.
Yeah, and his sister, you got to meet her?
No, I never met Meg.
Oh, okay.
Because at the time he was touring with the Raconteurs,
Mm-hmm.
and last week at the Roxy, I was with Jimmy Page and I saw the Dead Weather, which is Jack's new band.
Yeah.
And man, is that good! And we were back, we were just like rocking out to this, and the Dead Weather is amazing. So Jack is this prolific.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a major talent.
And he's playing drums.
Oh, he is?
He's playing drums.
Not guitar?
Not guitar. He comes out at the end, plays a little guitar. So, and their new video's out. Dead Weather's amazing.
Yeah, he gets bored easily, probably.
Yeah. He's always creating, always coming up with something new.
I noticed my feeling was with The Edge, that he was a very humble type person.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I think so. I mean, each of the great thing about the movie is each of their personalities come through.
Mm-hmm.
This is really about 3 portraits of 3 guys and who they are. And Ed speaks through his guitar. He says, what's coming through that speaker, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
It's less about the words and being charismatic. He lets the guitar speak for him. And it does. And that's what's nice about the movie is this is about guitarists, not about the lead singer. This is about how these guys speak with their instruments.
Right, right. Were they fans of each other?
I think in some cases they were kind of mysteries to each other because they're different. They come from different.
Mm.
But over time, I think musicians naturally start to gel because they're used to being in sessions and used to improvising, and so over time they really warmed up.